All right, so we're going to finish out with the last section of services that you will be offering your client through to the minute you clean up. So hair removal of the eyebrows by tweezing and simulated soft wax. Now this is on time. They're going to watch you do all of these. So I would have, when you switch to this client, I would have one bag out for your chemical services, one bag out for your hair removal, and then another out for your nail services. So all three of those are going to be set out at the time. So you are setting up for all of these services. Could you leave them in your bag and go in and get them? Yes, that's great. And at that point, you're going to have put your color bowl in your to be disinfected, dumping out any color if you wanted, putting your foils in the garbage if you want to take them out. Otherwise, you're just going to cover them with a plastic cap so that they're not in the way. I might wipe off the protective cream so that it's not in your way, but otherwise you're going to have it. But remember, number one with this service, gloves. Gloves, 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 gloves. So anytime we do hair removal, make sure that you have gloves to do your hair removal. And you only have 2 minutes. That's why I'm saying put out all those product bags out at once. Now remember, they're going to be in gallon bags. You're not going to have them out. Could you set them out? Yes, but you'll have 2 minutes to get rid of everything for the chemical services and then set everything up. So if you're constantly cleaning up when you're done with the service, you should have no worries about getting set up in this 2 minutes. So one thing that you'll want to do is you'll want to have multiple gloves. So this could be a universal bag that has gloves in it because you're going to use gloves for your chemical services and you're going to use them for your waxing and your tweezing. So you could have gloves in one bag together. Biggest thing is, so we're going to use for wax strips, you can actually use paper towels that we cut up. So you might want to buy a roll of regular paper towels. I did get some of the wipe balls, so we can use the wipe balls as well too, but we're going to want to cut them into wax strips. And I'm going to tell you something. I had a student once that dropped all of her wax strips on the floor. So you're going to want to make sure that you are careful with them. Maybe you want to keep them in the bag. Maybe you want to take out a portion of them. And then if you don't need them all, then you don't have to worry about if you would knock them on the floor. So you're going to use cholesterol for your wax strips. You're going to need your tweezer because you're going to do tweezing. And you're going to need alcohol or antiseptic. And you're going to need like a product, so like lotion or something to rub in afterwards. So they're going to tell you have 2 minutes to set up the supplies for hair removal of the eyebrows by tweezing and simulated soft wax. Please do not begin any procedures until the instructions have been read. So you only have 2 minutes to get everything cleaned up from the last and then start with this one. So you're going to remove hair removal of the eyebrows by tweezing and using simulated soft wax. You will demonstrate hair removal from one eyebrow by tweezing. You will demonstrate hair removal from the other eyebrow by using simulated wax. Expected to follow all client protection, safety, and infection control procedures. Instructed individually by the examiner to demonstrate the tweezing and soft wax procedures. Untimed. That means they're going to watch you do it from start to end. So not a good time to not have your gloves on and not use antiseptic. So again, everything should be labeled. You're going to need sticks, gloves, your simulated product, your tweezer. And so what happens if you drop your tweezer? So you're going to make sure that you have your disinfectant, wipe that off. Remember, it's a 2-minute disinfect so that you're going to be able to complete that. You have to simulate what it looks like. So please demonstrate hair removal of the eyebrow by tweezing. So you're going to make sure that you hold the skin taut, that you're going to follow through and remove all of the hair underneath. You might want to remove some hair in between. So, however, you need to make sure that you apply antiseptic first, hold that skin, and then antiseptic after. Now, making sure that you are tweezing with the hair growth, but there's a difference between the tweezing and the waxing. So you're going to use antiseptic before and after. However, when it comes to waxing, you're going to use antiseptic and then you're going to dry the area. And then you're going to test your wax, and then you're going to apply that soft wax along the entire length of the eyebrow in the direction of the hair growth. smooth it on, hold the skin taut, apply your wax strip over it, and then antiseptic to clean it off, and then this post-epilation product, so that would be like aloe or oil. I would suggest you not to use oil. We can always use a simulated lotion in there, so we'll just put a lotion in there so that it looks like post-epilation. Some people will use a gel, some people will put hand sanitizer in there. Just remember you're using alcohol before that. So you're going to have this, your first aid kit, handy for this. You're not going to have another, you're going to have cotton so that you can wipe it off as well. So we can either rip off or we can use cotton rounds. We'll put those in there, and then some sticks. So, and then again, make sure that you're wiping it with antiseptic before, antiseptic after, but when you wax, you're going to use some lotion or some cream afterwards. And then making sure that you're throwing your sticks away in the trash, Do not double dip. So you're going to have your little pot labeled wax. As you go through, make sure that everything's labeled. So this could be in its own little baggie. And then you're going to have your manicure and your polish application. So again, 2 minutes, so that's why it's important to have it out and that you're cleaning up as you're going along. So the things to be disinfected, you're going to put in your bucket. So remember, if it's any paper product, it should be going in the trash if you've taken it out. Your wax can go into the disinfected, but your tweezers, you're going to be careful with those. They're going to go in the to be disinfected. Making sure that you're moving forward with that. All right, so this kind of is your last service. You actually have to clean up after this. So manicure and polish application. So you only have 2 minutes to set up. So again, they tell you that you have 2 minutes. Turn the hand toward the examiner when you're finished. So some people, I would actually make sure you have a towel out, that you have your water for your soap dish, and that you have a way to get rid of it for your soap dish. There's certain things you don't need to do with this, but it's almost easier if you do what you were taught instead of not necessarily skipping those. You have 20 minutes to complete it. So, and manicure, and it's the 5 hands, but it's red polish. So my best advice to you is the best way to get red polish off the skin is not to get it on the skin, because you have to remove your polish when you're all done. So red stains like all get out. So I suggest you buy the start to finish at the dollar store, and that they have a red polish at the dollar store. You end up spending $2, but you can label that base and top coat, even though it already might say start to finish on it. $2 for their products is something you might use again. All right, so everything needs to be labeled. Implements and supplies are visibly clean. So you're going to need your manicure jar, and you're going to need some barbicide in there or alcohol in there. So I suggest you put a cotton circle in the bottom of your manicure jar and then saturate it with alcohol. So you don't need to put barbicide in there. You can use your alcohol as your disinfectant because we can use that on the skin. So you sanitize that hand. So you're going to take some hand sanitizer, do your hand and your client's hand, and then you're going to have file the free edges to exactly uniform length and shape. If you need to take it off, make sure that you clean underneath the nail, get any of those filings out from underneath the nail, and then you're going to soak the hand. So it has you soak here, but maybe you want to put your cuticle remover on first and then soak. You can soak and then put your cuticle on. You're going to use either an orange wood stick or your cuticle pusher to push the cuticles back. You're going to clean under your free edge. You're going to use your nail brush to brush any of the product off and then wipe them. And then they want you to buff the nails. So you're going to need to make sure you have a nail buffer. I like to apply the cuticle oil first and then buff the nails so that it's a nice shine. Then you're going to do your massage on the hand. So you can do either or. So buff them, then apply cuticle oil, then buff them, do your massage. So you have to massage the fingers, the top of the hand, and then 2 different types of massage movements. Then make sure that you're using nail polish remover to clean each nail plate. Apply the base coat, red coat, and top coat. make sure that your polish is nice and even. So red, if you start doing it too thick or too thin, you're going to have streaks. They're going to take you through. They're going to examine the hand to make sure there's no polish on the skin. This is what I was saying if you filed those. So final appearance of the polish is smooth and even. The nail plate is entirely covered with red polish. Cuticle and surrounding area are free of polish and free of injury. That's why it's really important that you're not filing all of your artificial hands before that day so that they're all trashed up. So it kind of takes it through. They tell you to go ahead and clean up. However, all examiners, you will remove the polish from all nails and properly dispose of supplies used in the previous section of the examination. You only have 5 minutes to do that. You'll be let know when you have 2 minutes remaining. Turn the hand toward the examiner to indicate when you're finished. So you're going to polish it, then you're going to turn the hand towards the examiner, and then they're going to tell you to move forward. You're going to remove all the polish, clean everything up. So all your cotton should be to be disinfected. I would actually clean up my space in this time, get rid of anything that you can. So really all that should have been left on your table is the nail polish. So any of your waxing stuff, any of your color stuff, any of that stuff should already have been cleaned up. So make sure that you clean all of this up. It says all candidates have indicated they have completed this section, or please stop working. Now, all examiners have indicated they have completed this assessment. So your head is going to go in the to be disinfected, and so is your hand to go in the be disinfected, as well as your capes. Towels should be in the laundry. Excuse me, your cape should go into the laundry. So just making sure that you're putting the right things in the right place. So making sure that you clean up everything. So at this point, they want to make sure that you have cleaned up your workspace, but that you're going to put everything is going to be in these 3 bags. So your disinfectant and your first aid kit and all of that can go back in the bag when you're done, but really you're going to end up sticking all these bags back in your bag. But everything should basically be in these 3 bags, so that once you clean up your space, basically the last thing you're going to do is you're going to wipe it down with disinfectant, throw that in the garbage, put your bags all up, sanitize your hands, and leave. Make sure your workspace is all disinfected, safe and sanitary, that there's no hair on the floor. We're going to go through all these general supplies. We'll talk about that a little bit more. I'll let you guys read through those as you work your way through. Basically, at that point, you're going to walk out of the room and you are done when they tell you you can be done. So that's for this last spot.